Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a classic philosophical text known as the Eighth Word. It tackles a massive, foundational question about how we experience reality, basically by breaking down the architecture of our own minds. If you've ever felt like your environment completely changes based purely on your state of mind, well, this source material maps out exactly why that happens. So let's explore it. You know those days where your exact same life, like the same job, the same house, the same routine, just feels heavy, dark, and almost suffocating, like you're trapped in a loop. And yet, maybe just a week later, you wake up in that exact same life and suddenly it feels deeply meaningful, hopeful, and full of possibility. The traffic is the same, you're still stuck behind that exact same slow minivan. The weather might even be the same, but your experience of it is completely inverted. Why does that happen? Why can one person look out at the world and see a dark, restrictive dungeon, while another person looks at the exact same world and sees a rich, beautiful garden? This is the absolute core question the Eighth Word tries to answer. It suggests that our internal state acts like a master filter, coloring every single thing we interact with. When that filter is clouded, everything looks grim. But when it's clear, we see opportunity everywhere.
All right, let's kick things off with Part 1, Perspectives on the World.
Which brings us right into Part 2, the tale of two brothers.
Okay, let's dive into this. To make this abstract idea tangible, the Eighth Word uses a really vivid allegory. Step 1. Two brothers are starting from the exact same place, journeying together, walking side by side. Everything is totally fine until Step 2, when they arrive at a critical fork in the road. It's this massive crossroads, and standing right at the center is a very serious guide. Now, this guy doesn't mince words. He stops the brothers and issues a stark warning, laying out exactly what lies down each of the two paths. He's essentially presenting them with a choice that will determine not just the route they take, but the fundamental quality of their entire journey. Let's look at exactly what the guide tells them about these two very different roads.
The guide points to the right path and says that here, there is an absolute obligation to follow rules, maintain order, and embrace discipline. I know, it sounds like a heavy burden, right? But he promises that within this strict discipline, there is guaranteed safety and true happiness. You know the rules, so you know you're protected. Then, he points to the left path. Now, this path offers what the text calls apparent freedom. No strict rules, no heavy obligations at all. You can literally do whatever you want. But the guide warns that hidden right beneath that illusion of total freedom is profound danger, distress, fear, and eventually darkness. Predictably, one brother chooses the safety and discipline of the right, knowing his heavy pack will protect him when the storm comes. The other brother? He chooses the immediate chaotic freedom of the left, tossing his pack aside, only to realize when night falls that he has no shelter, leading to intense fear and loneliness.
Moving on to Part 3, decoding the hidden meaning.
And this brilliantly illustrates the translation of the text. This story isn't just a fairy tale, it's a meticulously crafted psychological and spiritual map. It's like a giant puzzle. The two brothers aren't just characters, they actually represent two different states of the human soul and heart. We literally all have both of these brothers inside of us. The right path, with its discipline and ultimate safety, represents the path of faith and, specifically in the context of this text, the guidance of the Quran. The left path, with its alluring but dangerous freedom, represents the path of rebellion and denial, basically rejecting a higher order. And the world itself? It's simply the grand field where this epic journey takes place. The world is just neutral ground. It is the path we choose to walk upon it that completely dictates our experience.
This brings us to a pretty radical redefinition presented in the Eighth Word. Often, when people hear the word religion or faith, they immediately think of that right path's heavy burden. They think of a restrictive, exhausting list of things you are forbidden to do. But the source material explicitly pushes back against that. It defines religion not as a mere list of bans, but as an unlocking key of meaning. It is a vital tool designed specifically to rescue the human soul from the darkness and loneliness we saw on the left path. It's the framework that makes the whole journey make sense.
Let's put these two worldviews side by side. Without faith or a higher meaning, the text argues that if you believe life is completely ownerless and that death is just absolute nothingness, well, the human gang is left entirely alone in a vast, uncaring universe. Under that immense weight, the world rapidly becomes a dungeon for the soul. It's terrifying. But with faith, that exact same physical world is utterly transformed. It becomes a meaningful journey where you are protected by a higher order. The world is no longer a prison, it blossoms into a garden, full of purpose and intentional design.
Now, what's really interesting is exactly what that garden actually looks like. Through the lens of faith, the world takes on four profound new dimensions. First, it becomes a test. This means your struggles aren't just random, pointless suffering, they are challenges designed for your growth. Second, it is a place of mercy. Even in hardship, there is a safety net of ultimate compassion. Third, you have a duty. You aren't just wandering aimlessly. You have a specific, vital role to play. And finally, an eternal journey. This means that the struggles of today are for sure not the end of the story. So this philosophical lens completely reframes human existence, turning everyday anxieties into purposeful stepping stones.
Let's jump into Part 4, Redefining Rules and Boundaries. So the crucial point here is, how do we actually bring this down to earth? We all have rules or disciplines in our lives that feel restrictive, whether it's personal disciplines, societal laws, or spiritual guidelines. The natural human tendency, much like the brother who chose the left path, is to chafe against these rules and desire total, unrestrained freedom. I want you to think of a rule or discipline in your life right now that deeply bothers you, something that feels like a real heavy burden. Got it? Now ask yourself this exact question. What does this boundary protect me from? It changes everything. When we stop asking why we are being restricted and start asking what we are being protected from, our entire relationship with discipline shifts from resentment to gratitude.
The text drives home this absolutely powerful metaphor. Boundaries are not always prisons. Yes, a prison wall keeps you in, but a guardrail on a steep, winding mountain road also keeps you in. One is designed to lock you away from life, while the other is specifically designed to keep you alive so you can actually finish the journey. The discipline required on the right path of faith and order isn't a cage built to trap you. It is a series of sturdy guardrails protecting you from falling off a cliff into the chaos of that dangerous left path.
And finally, Part 5, Your Path, Your Choice.
The beauty of this text is that it describes an active, ongoing choice. The physical world around you tomorrow will likely be exactly the same as it was today, but you are the one standing at the fork in the road right now. So, what does this all mean for you? Which path are you going to choose today? Will you embrace the discipline and rules that act as guardrails, providing safety and meaning on the right? Or will you be tempted by the immediate, deceptive freedom of the left? The world is waiting for your decision, and your experience of it will mirror the choice you make. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this text today. Take this question with you, reflect on your own mindset, and I'll catch you in our next explainer.